Welcome back, guys. Here we go. I'm going to go over your assignments. This assignment that I'm giving is a two-part assignment. It's going to count as one assignment in the gradebook. Okay? The first thing I'm going to do is go over government. Now, on Friday, this Friday, actually it's Thursday, there's a live webinar from the director of AP. But on Friday, we'll get all the information exactly. They're going over on each subject exactly how they're going to break it down. The only thing on these tests are FRQs. Okay? So we are focusing on the FRQs. But in order to do that, we still have to get that general knowledge. So what I'm doing right now, I'm using the same review that I was going to give you before, even with multiple choice. Okay? It breaks it down. It's a good video that breaks it down, and you're going to use closed notes, okay? And you're going to just follow through and fill in the blanks, okay? And then you'll upload it, send it back to me. Pretty easy assignment. The video is about 40 minutes. Remember, Thursday, you have until Saturday night, 40 minutes. Take the time. Obviously, some of you might cut and paste, copy it, all that. Hopefully you don't do that, because this will help you. Okay, this will help you. What is it going over? It's going over Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3. Unit 4 and 5 are not on the AP exam. That's the politics. Okay, that's the politics part. They took it off the exam. Okay, I know we didn't finish exactly. We're just about finished with Unit 3, with civil rights, civil liberties. But there's a couple things that they'll go over in the video, and I'll be able to talk about later to make sure when we have to write about it and stuff. So the first thing you're going to do is the government assignment. You're going to go over a review of Lesson 1, just some of the basics, some of the Constitution stuff like that. Then you're going to go Unit 2, the foundational work, legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial branch. So that's the nucleus. That's the main part of this. So think about it. If before they cut the test, that Unit 2 was 40% of the test. Now when you only have the 3, you're looking at there's probably a good portion of that FRQ is going to be somewhere you're going to be writing about the executive branch, judicial branch, or the legislative branch. So that's got to be a big part of it. Again, once the information comes out, I'll look over it on the weekend, and I'm going to use those AP things as well in those FRQs. I got a plan. We're going to get the foundational information, go through the stuff so you remember it. Next week, we'll focus more on the documents, okay, the Federalist Papers, all that stuff, and then we'll talk about the cases. There's only one case that's not on it. That's Citizens United. So now, instead of 15 cases, you got to learn 14 cases. Okay? So, tonight, or tomorrow, whatever day it is today, you're going to do the work. I'll put on there, get it to me by Thursday at 9 o'clock. Saturday at 9 o'clock. Okay? Get it to me by Saturday at 9 o'clock. We'll put it in, and I'll be ready to go. Now I'm going to go over the next part of this assignment, okay? And it has to deal with some econ. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to do some graphing, okay? This is all part of this review, okay? It's all the graphing and the econ, that's all together with the government, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the basics with the graphs. Remember, I told you that these are only FRQs, so we're really going to focus on the graphs. Now, I know you're disappointed, but they did cut off Unit 5 in Econ. Unit 5 was the Forex graph. So I know you're disappointed. There's no Forex graph on your AP exam. That means no appreciation, depreciation, balance of payments, the financial and current account, none of that jazz. I know you're disappointed. So we have one less graph to worry about. All right, what we're going to do today, and this is important. When I do this stuff here, if I'm giving you information, You need to write it down. That's part of your assignment that you're going to upload, take a picture. So I want you taking notes like we're in class, okay? So the first thing I want you to do is draw right here. You have your Y and your X. Get back to the basics, guys, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to draw aggregate demand and aggregate supply, okay? Aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Got it? Remember this one? First thing we're going to do, up here, price level. Got that? Down here, real GDP. Remember that? Okay? Now, price level, when the price level goes up, that shows inflation. Okay? When overall average of prices are going up, we have inflation. Down here, we're measuring output. GDP is production. Okay? So those are different terminology. You hear GDP, production, output, growth, that type of stuff right here. Okay? So the first thing, remember the cow? Aggregate demand down. Down. Aggregate demand down. Okay? Finish up the X. This is your short run aggregate supply. Now, again, sometimes you'll see it as SRAS. This is the short run aggregate supply. Okay? This is the short run. So you got aggregate demand, your consumers. Remember, aggregate demand is made up of what? Oh yeah, I hear what you're saying. Remember what aggregate demand's made of? Oh, I'm in the view here. C plus I plus G plus XN. C plus I plus G plus XN. That's the formula. That's the formula right here, okay, for output. We measure GDP right here. C, consumer spending or consumption. I, business investment, okay? Capital equipment, machines, tools. That's your I, okay? So we're measuring, the government does they do statistics, they see how much production, how much spending, consumer spending is going on. Remember, consumer spending is about 70% of this formula, okay? Let's look what's happening right now. Obviously, we got a lot going on. People are not spending money, okay? Businesses are closing down, shutting down for a while. So when people aren't spending money, consumer spending is less, aggregate demand is going to decrease, okay? It's going to decrease. Business investment. Right now, we'll get into the Fed and fiscal policy. Businesses aren't buying capital equipment. They're not expanding. They're holding back. So I is being affected, right? Business investment, not investment in stocks and bonds, investment in the capital equipment, okay? Government spending. Well, what's happened? Because of these two are down, government has increased spending. 2.2 trillion. We have a stimulus package out there, putting money back into people's pockets, putting it into the businesses, trying to increase so people do at least order out right now, right? So trying to keep aggregate demand so we don't go so far down, okay? And exports, imports, X minus M. XN, exports minus imports. So that makes up aggregate demand. Remember that? Of course you do, okay? Now the short run aggregate supply, we're focused more on the business side of it, okay? What's going to move that? Well, corporate taxes. If we raise corporate taxes, businesses are going to cut back. They're not going to hire as many people. It's going to cost more money. If we lower corporate taxes, businesses might expand, pay their employees more, open another business, stuff like that. Okay? So this focuses on the business, the supplier. Okay? Now we have aggregate demand, aggregate supply. Now we're one more thing through the middle here. We have the long run aggregate supply. There's your equilibrium. Okay? Long run aggregate supply. This is considered full employment. So on your test, they ask you to draw Aggregate demand, aggregate supply. Full employment, you're right here. This is our happy place. This is our safe zone. This is where they want the economy to be. Okay? Take your dot. Price level 1. Okay, and down here, remember this? This is full employment. YF. Now again, when we get through these practice problems, we practice, they might tell you to label it QF or QE. Okay? You go, if they don't tell you what to label, you label it YF. Okay? Now, this is the best state of the economy. It's one of the 3 places the economy is going to be at. Full employment, right here. Now, what makes up full employment? Okay? That number is considered 4 to 6% unemployed. Okay? So, 4 to 6% unemployment is considered full employment. Okay? And you're like, how does that happen? Well, you know, because we took the class in the fall. But let me go over it, refresh your mind. 4 to 6%, that number is made up of frictional. We have our frictional workers, right? And structural workers. Okay? So that 4 to 6%, frictional, fired, quit. Every day people are quitting, or they're getting fired, or they're in between jobs, or they graduate college, or look for a job. That's frictional unemployment. That's natural. That's naturally occurring. That's why it's called also full employment, is the natural rate of unemployment. Okay? So that full employment is 4 to 6% unemployed, which is also the natural rate of unemployment. This naturally occurs. Structural means your skills are no longer in demand. Okay? The VCR repair guy. Remember old Clifford? Yeah, guys, Clifford? Make sure you look at his videos. Great job. Okay? Structural, VCR repair guy. In the 80s, the VCR repair guy had a lot of work. But then came the DVD, the Blu-ray, and on-demand, all that stuff. Now his skills are no longer needed. Okay? So, this person that's structurally unemployed needs to be retrained and find another job. Okay? So this makes up the 4 to 6%. Now, this is where we want to be. Okay? Now, something can happen to the economy that can push us either way. We can go to inflation or unemployment. And I'll show you that next. All right, guys, here we go. Ready to roll here. Here we go. All right, now, we were at full employment. Now, the state of the economy, we're going to start out at a recession or a negative output gap. Things are slow. People aren't spending their money. Businesses aren't expanding. People are out of work. That is a recession. Okay? 6 months of declining GDP is technically a recession. Okay? So let's draw that on the graph, the state of the economy. Okay? Here we go. We got our axis, Y and X. We go price, level, okay, real GDP. Put the X. Now again, some of you started off different. I started out this way, and I go right there. Okay? Right here is our equilibrium. That is our current output point right here. Okay? This is a negative output gap. Okay? We want to be over here on this line. This is long run aggregate supply. That's where our goal is. Okay? This is aggregate demand. Demand, not supply. Oops. And this is short run aggregate supply. Okay? Our current output is here. So that's Y1, where our full employment is YF. All the time, no matter what. On this long run, it's YF or QF, whatever the full employment. That's the full employment. That's where we want to be. This is our happy place. This is our goal right here. Okay? For the short run, right there. Right there to get we want to get back here at the long run. Now, here, we come from here. Our current price level is here. So, this is a recessionary gap or a negative output gap. What's output? Right here. Remember, it's the terminology. GDP is what we're producing, okay? Our production, our output. If we're not making much, we want to be making here, let's say we're producing 2 trillion GDP here, and we're only doing 1 trillion, we're negative, okay? We're not where we want to be, okay? The goal is to get back here, where we're expected to be, okay? Right here is our current output. This is a negative output gap. Now, when we go back into reviewing, there's the state of the economy. We have a problem. We have an issue, right? The goal, when we start moving forward on this again, is to try to get this back here. And we go into the 3 different ways that this can happen. Okay, we get into fiscal policy. Okay, fiscal policy, taxes and government spending, trying to get it back. We get into monetary policy, the Fed, the central bank, all the buying bonds, lowering the reserve requirement, lowering the discount rate, getting people and businesses to spend money. Okay, we want to try to get this back here. So when we keep moving forward, we're going to get back into that stuff. Remember I said the nucleus was in government was the legislative, executive branch, and judicial. Well, the nucleus here is fiscal and monetary policy. Again, obviously all this stuff going on, you saw a huge stimulus bill to get people to start spending money, keep them afloat. People are losing jobs, okay? Unemployment is low, so let me point this out here. 4 to 6% here. Maybe before, during a recession, maybe it's like 9%, 10% here. Let's say that many people are out of work. Remember in the Great Depression, it was 25%. Okay? 25% of the labor force, eligible in the labor force, were out of work. 1 out of every 4. So, what the government, fiscal policy right now, Congress and the president, they're trying to keep this. They know this is happening because of what's going on. They're trying to keep this from going way out here, okay? By doing this, getting money to businesses, getting money to the people, the consumers. Also what's happening is the Fed, Chairman Powell, Jerome Powell, they're lowering interest rates. We got like 0% interest rates. They're buying all these bonds. They're putting money, credit available to the banks. So the banks make loans. So there's money there if you still want to go buy a car, a house, or businesses want to expand, or they need money to stay afloat. Banks, the Fed is funneling money into the banks right now to keep us from going down uncharted waters. Okay? They're trying to keep us in an area here where we can bounce back once this is over with. Okay? So we get into that. So right here, remember, recessionary gap, negative output gap, same thing. People are out of work, okay? This part, remember I told you, natural rate of unemployment is the 4 to 6, right? This part, if this was 9 and this was 5, the cyclical is 4. Cyclical is when this part here. Right here is the frictional and structural, okay? That 5%. Now when you move off of that, that's your cyclical. Something bad happened to the economy. The ups and downs, the business cycle, elevator business, okay? That's your cyclical unemployment. When you're off of this, something bad happens, you're cyclical. Frictional, structural are here. Cyclical, something happens, moves us off where we want to be. All right, now we're going to draw a graph on inflation.
Go.
All right, welcome back. Here we go. We're going to draw inflation, guys. Okay, here we go. You got to be writing this down. This is part of the thing. I want you going over it, writing this down, submitting this. All right, here we go. Draw your Y and your X. We got first price level. Okay, down here, real GDP. Here we go. We have aggregate demand, short run aggregate supply. Okay, now we're going inflation. Okay, in the middle would be full employment. Over here would be recession. Now we're going to the other part it could be, the state of the economy, inflation. Okay, this is our current output, equilibrium output right there. Okay, here's your full employment. Label current, this is the current, this is where we are right now. Okay, label it Y1. Now, again, when you do these FRQs and we get back into the flow of this, this might be Y or it might be Q. Whatever they tell you, you do it. But if they don't tell you something, go YF, Y1. All right, bring it across here. We got price level 1. Okay. Oh, got to make sure we label correctly. I've been told by fans that my numbering is not very good, so I'm trying my best. All right, here we go. This is the inflationary gap. Okay, this is the inflationary gap in here. This is an inflationary gap. Or, class, a positive output gap in the short run. Okay, this is what is a little misleading. Okay, what's happening here, inflation. We know inflation, technically I should have this higher. Okay, we know inflation is the average of prices as a whole. CPI, Consumer Price Index, they're going up. They measure it. Prices are going up, that market basket. So we're over here. Things are happening faster. Okay? People, yeah, we were 4 to 6, but maybe we're at 2%. Okay? You got all these people working, but we're technically, it's like a false narrative. We're not producing more goods. We're just hiring more people. Okay? So what can happen, you can start moving this way in the long run. We have more, if we get more production, then we have economic growth. But in the short run, if prices keep going up too fast, now we got a problem. Okay? Remember the idea is when prices are going up, what are you and I going to do? We're going to knock on our boss's door and say, hey, prices are going up, man. I need a raise. Okay? So if you're one of the better employees, which you will be, okay, you're going to demand more money. And if you're a better employee, they're going to pay you more. So the cost of the business over the long run, it pushes it back so it slows things down. Okay? But again, the government can step in. If they see inflation is going up too fast, okay, 2 to 3%, 2 to 4, right in that range, we're good. That's no problem. We get up to 8, 10, 15 in the 70s. You had inflation way up there. Fiscal policy, President and Congress can step in. They can do something to slow it down. And again, I'll focus a little bit more on their tools, but they can raise taxes, slow it down, or they can cut spending. When they cut government spending, they're cutting jobs. Okay? You're cutting jobs, people aren't working, they're not aggregate demand, consumer spending, it's going to come back. Okay? It's going to decrease. Okay? Or the Fed can get involved. If they see prices are going up too fast, remember, they don't have to iron things out in different parts. They can act quickly, overnight. Board of Governors. They could, to slow it down, they can raise the discount rate, raise the reserve requirement, or they can sell bonds. Slow the economy. Okay, take money out of the system. Loans aren't going out as fast. Slow it back down and bring it back here. Now later we'll get into economic growth. Okay, how we want to grow. Okay, that's the long run. Okay, in the short run, we gotta watch those prices. Prices are going up too fast. That could be extremely bad for the economy. Not a good situation. Okay, 3 graphs: full employment, recession or negative output gap, inflationary gap or positive output gap. Back to the basics here. Understanding full employment, inflation, output. These are the 3 main things. Okay? Prices, inflation, full employment, output, GDP. Okay? We're going to get back into the flow here. Your assignment, I'll have your assignment on the classroom, Google Classroom, and you'll be raring to go. Make sure you get what I put up on this board, you copy it down. Hopefully you watch the video and it starts sinking in. Okay? I know it's been a while on the Econ, but you're going to get back to it. And it all ties together with the government, guys. Obviously, if you're paying attention to what's going on in the news, all of this, government and Econ are applying to what's happening in the real world. Other than that, have a great weekend. Get your work done, and I will see you next week.